Congratulations! Now that you have decided which healthy eating and physical activity changes you'd like to make at your school, it's time to implement those changes. This video will show you how action planning works in AIM and will introduce you to the basic components of a strong action plan. But first, let's review how we got here. During the first stage of AIM, Assess, we looked carefully at the school environment in order to determine what our needs were and where there was opportunity to make change. Next came Identify, when we learned about best practices, made a list of possible changes, evaluated those changes for importance and feasibility, and decided which changes to make at our school. Now we arrive at Make It Happen, the final stage of AIM. This is when we work to make our selected changes a reality, so they are up, running, and ready for students by the time school starts next year. The bulk of the planning that goes into our changes happens during meetings 5, 6, and 7. Rather than try to write the entire action plan during one meeting, we will focus on different phases of action planning across those 3 meetings. This will keep things manageable and focused for our team. We will identify specific and doable tasks to organize our collaboration and to ensure we have a solid plan to implement each change. During Meeting 5, we will focus on getting approval to make the change and building buy-in among key stakeholders. Who do we need to ask for approval to make this change? What information do stakeholders need in order to support it? Tasks that address these areas will set the foundation for successful changes by making sure we have widespread support in the community. In Meeting 6, we continue to build our action plans by writing tasks related to putting the change in place. Think of these tasks as the nuts and bolts of getting our change up and running. Questions like, what materials do we need? How will we get them? Who will help? And how will we train our staff? Are at the heart of this stage of action planning. Meeting 7 is the last AIM meeting we will use for creating action plans. This is when we add tasks related to sustainability to our plans. What do we need to do in order to make sure our changes are around 5, 10, even 20 years from now? During Meeting 7, we will make sure that we have included tasks that will help us sustain our changes over the long term. Now that you know the kinds of information that we want to cover in an action plan and when we will cover it during AIM, let's talk a little bit about how to write a task card. Action plans start as a pile of blank index cards and a whole lot of ideas. As we go through meetings 5, 6, and 7, we will get out the ideas and fill the cards with information. Each card will have just one task on it. This way, we can focus on just one task at a time and ensure we are doing what we need to get the changes put into place. For example, general language such as inform staff members about the change doesn't give us enough information. It's not specific because we don't know how or where the information is to be presented. It also could be too overwhelming for one person to try to complete between meetings. However, if we change it to say, present materials about classroom activity breaks and show a brief video giving an example at the next staff meeting, we know exactly what needs to be done, and we can also be confident that one person can complete it before our next AIM meeting. Once we have a task that is specific and doable, it helps to think about what the person assigned to the task will need to be able to complete it successfully. We call these things resources, and they go on the back of the card. For example, does the person need a handout, talking points, equipment, or training? In our example about presenting at the staff meeting, the person in charge will need a handout explaining activity breaks, a short video showing an example activity, a projector, a laptop, and about 15 minutes of time scheduled during the meeting. By recording these items on the back of the card, we can make sure the person setting out to complete the task will have everything they need to be successful. When action plans are complete, each change will have as many task cards as there are tasks. Some changes will likely have more than others, but each should have as many as it needs to be implemented successfully. You can easily tell which tasks go with which change by the color of the card. And because tasks are written on index cards, we can arrange and rearrange them as we add new items, accomplish tasks, or decide to do things in a different order. At the end of each meeting, we'll line up the tasks and decide which need to be completed by our next meeting. Task force members will sign up to complete the tasks and write their names on the front of the card along with the due date. All of the tasks that need to be done by the next meeting will go into the envelope marked To Do, while the rest of the cards will be put into change envelopes and revisited later. When we get back together at the next meeting, the AIM facilitator will help our group review tasks that were to be completed, and each person will have a chance to share their progress. When tasks are accomplished, hooray! We are that much closer to making our change a reality. If we run into obstacles or need further support, however, we can also help each other troubleshoot these difficulties and set ourselves up to be successful next time. At each meeting, we will post task cards that have been completed on the Done chart. This chart will help us track our progress and let us know what we have accomplished as well as what we have left to do. Each meeting, we will watch as the list of completed tasks grow until we have all of our changes fully in place. Action planning is when we really get to dig in and make our changes a reality. The best part is seeing students benefit from the changes we work so hard to implement. Best of luck, and have fun making it happen.